Today I F it up by jumping into a lake in my bra/panties to save a man that turned out to be an elite military scuba diver in training. I'm couch surfing with my sister and her boyfriend. I work for him at the lakeside bar, trying to save money for college. My state is open despite the ongoing pandemic, and while I'm not thrilled about the risks, I need both the job and the couch to make ends meet. My sister and her boyfriend are pretty cool about letting me crash with them, but to give them some space and get a break from the endless doom scrolling on my phone, I take a run by the lake every morning. The lake is absolutely beautiful, with crystal clear water that draws scuba divers who come to explore the flooded town at the bottom. It's a pretty cool spot, and I enjoy the peacefulness of my morning runs. Today, I was lost in my thoughts as I jogged along the craggy side of the lake when I noticed a dark mass floating to the surface about 40 feet away. At first, I couldn't quite make out what it was, but as I got closer, I realized it looked like a person. And not just any person, this dude looked dead. DAD. He was facing away from me, his head tipped back, eyes closed, and bobbing like a fishing lure. There was no one else around, so I figured he was some quantum crazy guy out here scuba diving alone at the crack of dawn, probably giving himself the bends or something equally dangerous. Like a jackass, instead of yelling to check if he was okay, I immediately towed off my shoes and stripped down to my skivvies, ready to save this apparent imbecile. In my head, it played out like a movie trailer. I'd take 3 glorious steps and launch into the deep blue water, Black Widow style. Instead, reality hit hard, my tender feet landed on the sharp rocks, and I contorted in pain like a slinky, pitching myself into the water in a decidedly ungraceful side flop. To make matters worse, I was wearing my contacts, so I had to swim with my eyes closed. When I finally opened them, I saw the dead guy staring at me with a look that screamed, "Have you lost your ever-lovin' mind?" Before I could stop myself, I blurted out, "Are you okay?" He removed his regulator and, with an incredulous expression, replied, "Yes." My brain blue-screened as I tread water, the lake suddenly feeling infinitely deep. Before I could let my imagination run wild with thoughts of lurking lake monsters, I turned to nope the hell out of there. Yelling over my shoulder, I said, "I thought you needed saving," hoping to explain my idiocy. As I pivoted to swim back to shore, I heard another guy clear his throat from 30 feet away on the other side. I hadn't noticed him before, and his sudden presence made me freak out, flailing and letting out an ear-piercing scream. Both of these asshats laughed, and then I noticed more heads surfacing around us. I was surrounded by a group of divers, all wildly entertained by my high-octane screw-up. One of them, the original target of my rescue, pointed towards the beach and cautiously swam toward me. After I nodded, he escorted me to the shore. The swim back was much longer than I anticipated, and I was struggling to catch my breath without making it obvious. The comedy of the situation hit me, and I started to giggle uncontrollably. Finally, I joked, "Dude, you are lucky you weren't actually dying because it would have taken everything I have to drag your sorry ass this far." He chuckled and offered me a tow, which I immediately refused. Hell, no. Not gonna happen. Even if I had to dog paddle, I wouldn't openly accept that defeat. He quietly mocked me all the way back to the shore, and I couldn't help but secretly enjoy it. Turns out, these guys were cadets or recent graduates from a military college here for the summer. They had been training in pools and were now doing some open water exercises, having been out there at least part of the night. I'm pretty sure I blew up whatever drill they were running. My rescuer was training for pre-dive school, which I later Googled and found out means combat diving. When we finally reached the shore, I tried to muster as much dignity as possible, throwing my shoulders back and marching out of the water in my sports bra and undies. I could only imagine how badass these men must be, but I refused to let that intimidate me. Before leaving, I invited him and his clandestine crew for an absurdly overpriced beer at the bar tonight, hoping to turn this embarrassing encounter into a funny story to laugh about later. As I shame-jogged back into the woods to retrieve my clothes, I couldn't help but reflect on the absurdity of the situation. Here I was, trying to save a guy who didn't need saving, surrounded by military cadets who were probably wondering what kind of crazy person would dive into a lake without checking the situation first. But hey, life is full of unexpected moments, and this was definitely one for the books. Back at my sister's place, I recounted the story to her and her boyfriend, who both burst into laughter. They couldn't believe what had happened, and neither could I, really. But it felt good to share the story and laugh about it. It was a reminder that even in the most ridiculous and embarrassing moments, there's always something to smile about. That evening, when the cadets showed up at the bar, we all shared a round of drinks and retold the story from our different perspectives. It turned into a great night, full of laughter and new friends. Sometimes, life's unexpected twists and turns lead to the best memories.